Okay, another little tipster here. This is my own bike that I just finished. Did some last minute touches on it yesterday. And I had a small oil leak right here. And so I actually pulled the bolt out and discovered that the threads are stripped. So I got another one out here just to show you how you can fix this. These are supposed to be tightened to about 100 inch-pounds, which is roughly 9 foot-pounds. You do want to use a torque wrench on these. The way these are set up, this is the bolt right here. I'll get over here where it's not so glary. It's got a seal here, which has got an O-ring in it, and then it sits up against the case, and that does the seal. As you see, it's a shouldered bolt, so once this thing is bottomed out, you can tighten all you want. It's not going to put any more pressure on that gasket. And what happens, I think, is people may at times think if they just give this a little extra, the leak will go away. And it's rare that these things leak. They really don't leak. I think maybe the valve cover was taken off to check the valves and over tightened, and two of them are actually stripped. And it's you're thinking, oh boy, what do we do now? What I did is a standard 1/4 inch bolt is slightly larger than that. So I made this tool, which is just two bolts together. And if you see on the end here, I cut a notch, kind of cut it at an angle. So this actually works as a thread chaser. And the case is aluminum. So what I did is I inserted this in here, and then I very carefully screwed it in. And it built new threads. So as you can see, I ran it in, and it'll bottom out, and as soon as it bottoms out, you stop. You don't good and tight this thing, because then you'll really be in trouble. Then you end up taking this all apart and putting in a Healy coil or something. And normally when a bolt gets stripped in aluminum, you do put in a Healy coil or something like that. At 100 inch-pounds, there's not enough stress on here to really warrant that. So this fix works pretty good. So this thing works as a chaser. It sets it up as a standard 1/4 inch 20 thread. And then what I did is, if you look at this, where that's set up, I made a new one where I just cut it off. You can see where I cut it off, right at the shoulder. So now the bolt is actually the shoulder. So that limits the depth it'll go, and the distance from here to here is the same on both of these. If you really want to get a little extra push on this deal, you can stick an extra little O-ring in here, which will add just a little bit more pressure on that gasket if you're really worried about it, or if it does leak and you can't seem to fix it. And like I say, you don't want to tighten it up. So this did the trick. So adding that 1/4 inch bolt, and I cut it to the same length as the other one. Everything's the same, except this is just a larger diameter than the metric. And that fixed the problem. So I screw them both in, torque them down to 100 inch-pounds, and everything's hunky-dunky. As you can see, everything's back together there, and they are snugged up to the 100 inch-pound setting, not good and tight. The good and tight thing just drives me nuts if you haven't noticed. Especially on the plastic parts, people tighten them. You know, we're renting a house right now, and every single outlet cover is cracked because all the screws are good and tight. So I'm going to go through the house and actually replace all the covers and snug them up. There are some things that have to be tight, you know, like lug nuts on the wheels and stuff. A lot of this stuff is just snugged up. You know, you get it just tight enough to hold it in position. And like these bolts will never come loose. You know, why would you tighten those? So anyway, that's the scoop. Just remember, good and tight is not necessarily the way to go.